Around late 2005, a site, Drawball, was launched. It utilizes Flash and consists of a large ball that allows any visiting user to draw on it. It initially presented itself as the world's biggest graffiti board. It gives users a limited amount of ink to use, that does refill over time however. It mostly lacked measures to prevent art from being overwritten, so it would be subject to various raids over so far almost decade and a half long history. Sometime later, the site would be separated into Drawball 1 and 2, the former having the ability for admins to protect artwork, and the latter being complete anarchy, and thus being more susceptible to raids. One of the first conflicts on the site was in January to March 2006. It initially began when South Korean internet users invaded the canvas and drew a South Korean flag on it. However, in February, a coalition consisting of users from Game FAQs, LUE Link, 4chan, YTMND, and Something Awful arrived on the site and painted over the flag with neon green. So many users joined that a queue system had to be implemented. Afterwards, 4chaners and YTMND users returned to turn the brought back South Korean flag into a Japanese flag, and soon after 4chaners and 2chaners arrived to turn it into the Pepsi logo. 4chaners were not done on the site after this, and around a year later they returned and established a large B on the flag, as well as pictures of Longcat. It was eventually destroyed, to which 4chaners retaliated by completely blacking out the ball. The site could not handle the amount of users and eventually crashed, but was brought back up, with users given full ink, allowing for them to cause further destruction. In 2009, Finnish users came to the site and turned the ball into a Finnish flag, and came into conflict with 4chaners. They attempted to turn it into a swastika, resulting in Finnish users reverting the change. Afterwards, they changed the ball into a large awesome face. In June, the site was hacked, and it was replaced with a distorting awesome face. Around August of 2009, Polish users turned the ball into the flag of Poland, with Polska written on it. These users mostly came from the sites Vladkop.pl, Insomnia.pl, and Kabisa.net. 4chaners and new schoolers came to the site and tried vandalizing it by drawing a giant swastika, as well as a hammer and sickle on it. 4chaners also attempted a DDoS Vykop, naming the operation Fall Weiss, after the German plan for the invasion of Poland in 1939. In November, 4chaners again returned to the site for Project Blue Ball and had the goal of turning the entire canvas blue. They utilized an auto-hotkey script so that could be done automatically. Around March of next year, users from the forum Foro Coaches came to the site. Their first move was to draw the ugly smiley on the canvas, and in retaliation, 4chaners drew Freezer on the canvas. The Spanish users countered this by turning the face into the ugly smiley. The initials of the forum were eventually written on the canvas, and they were considered the winners of this section of Drawball history. They also fought with Polish users, covering a Polish flag with the ugly smiley. The war with the Polish users resulted in the birth of the Poland Ball meme, which involves characters resembling countries, usually in the shape of balls, interacting with each other in poorly drawn comics and in broken English. The comics originated on the German Krautchan image board, but the events on Drawball inspired the user, Falco, to create the comics to make fun of another user, Wojak, a Polish user who commonly spoke on the board in broken English. In June, a group of French users from the site GeoVideo, who called themselves the 1518, came onto the site and replaced a giant pedo bear drawn by 4chaners with a Santa emoji, the symbol for a movement known on the French internet in the late 2000s, Noelisme, or Noelism. In retaliation, 4chaners constructed a massive Kekistan flag on the ball. It didn't take long for the French users to strike back and cover the ball with the French flag the next day. The counterattack against that was not slow, as it was replaced with a drawing resembling the symbol commonly associated with Anonymous. At the same time as the French invasion, funny junk users began to assault the canvas. The French users attempted to vandalize the Anonymous emblem, but no damages occurred. The 4chaners changed the ball into a picture of Slowpoke, and initially, the French users were slow to react, but soon 1518, albeit poorly, drew a Pokeball over the image. Afterwards, other French users drew a large smiley face over 1518's previous drawing. Again, they drew the Eiffel Tower over it. The final event in the conflict between 4chaners and French users over Drawball would be 4chaners drawing a swastika over the ball. In September, Dutch users from FOC and Girl Scene constructed a smiley face on the ball, and later the Dutch flag. French users and 4chaners once again faced off on the site, when 1518 returned and plastered the French flag on the ball, with the message, "Owned 4chan by 1518. Again, in 2012, 4chaners and French users faced off when French users wanted to replace the swastika with the French flag. 4chaners attempted to reconstruct it, but it mostly failed, and eventually French users drew a smiley face over it. By June, the ball was split between a map of the world in the upper half, and various other art in the lower half. Around 2012 to 2015, drawball had begun to decline, resulting in information becoming more scarce and less raids occurring. Most information from 2015 onwards can be found from the recordings by the YouTube channel Huge Drawball Faggot. In April of 2015, the H-hand logo was plastered on the ball before being overtaken by a large black region of the ball on the left and on the right a French flag. The ball came to be dominated by a white side and a black side. The black side started to overtake the white side. Both of the sides were covered in various other drawings, like a banner of the Russian flag, for example. Speaking of the Russian flag, the banner would eventually grow into a large flag to cover the entirety of the ball, which was then converted to a Polish flag. The Polish flag was in turn made completely white, and then into a French flag, with various symbols like the Santa emoji returning the draw ball. The French flag, however, was unable to defend itself from users who converted it into a Soviet flag. The flag eventually fell, with the French flag rising again for what remained. Polish users returned again and painted the Polish flag on the ball, which was defaced numerous times by Russian users. Eventually, the ball became mostly white, with a large blue bar in the middle. It stayed this way for quite a while, but by the end of June, the white part had become black. Many things, such as the Christmas emoji and the American flag, were constructed over it. In July, a vertical rainbow appeared on the ball, similar to the one that bordered the white and black halves months before. This was finally put to an end in July, when French users once again constructed their flag on the site. The white stripe of the French flag was then replaced with purple, and the blue box returned, which was then replaced with white, then green, then blue again. Later in August, the box was made white again, and began to overtake other parts of the ball. Soon after, the entire ball was covered in dark red, and then to black, before Polish users returned and supplanted the black ball with their flag, who were in turn covered up by the Russian flag, which fell to a rainbow gradient built in late September. An attempt was made to reconstruct the blue box, which failed for the most part. In October, the ball began to turn white again, but was covered up mostly by other drawings. Later in the month, it was able to visibly cover about half of the ball, and in total covered most of the ball. The ball was then taken over by the Santa emoji, before the ball was once again turned white. In December, Finnish users returned and turned the white canvas into the Finnish flag. Once again, the canvas remained white, but in early 2016, various other colors began to close in on the white parts. In May, the blue part began expanding and covered a large portion of the canvas, though in June, it began to be overwhelmed with white again. Eventually, bots were used to keep the ball white, and eventually broke the site by using unlimited ink. From this point onwards, drawball was mostly forgotten, but the Chaos Ball does occasionally face some invasions from time to time. From a video published in December of 2018, the ball has been in a relatively unchanged state for about 9 months. Drawball provides a visual example of what occurs on the internet when you have no moderation and a group of communities, each competing for the spotlight.